Hello, everybody. Welcome to tonight's show. This is a big one. I'm telling you, there's things that I'm going to show you that you're not going to see on mainstream media. These are huge breaking stories. There's been articles of impeachment released against Biden for his call on the Ukraine army to use long-range missiles against its war with Russia that are U.S. missiles. Based upon Biden's call, it's technically an act of war that the United States, by proxy, is committing against Russia. The other stuff, I don't get it, but technically, because of the way that the law is written now, this is like an act of war. But there are senators and Republicans who are now coming together stating that they can impeach Biden based upon this without the consensus of Congress and whatnot. But they're saying also that Biden's removal needs to happen because he is incompetent and unable to perform his duties with the highest capabilities to serve as president. They're claiming that he is trying to sabotage Trump's peace campaign for Ukraine and Russia, that he has stated already that he wants to end the war, stop the killing, and make sure to bring peace to the Middle East. FEMA, and this is the thing, it's already there. Like, things are already in motion. I'm going to show you the video. Everything's already happening. We'll check it out in a moment. But FEMA also has been caught. They're testifying right now before Congress, but they've been caught using funds that were supposed to go to hurricane victims, and they've been giving more benefits to illegal immigrants. The sum of what Congress has accounted for that an illegal immigrant can use coming through FEMA is upwards of $10,000. Yet they were only wanting to give a $750 check to Hurricane Milton and Helene victims that just happened just a couple months ago. Congress is calling for the firing of all FEMA leadership for this betrayal of the American people. Jim Jordan, the chairman of the House Judiciary, gets into a heated debate and literally calls out the FEMA director because she literally has no idea of what was going on and has not even investigated what has happened. We also have it where the Democrats are trying to ram through a huge omnibus bill with a lot of wasteful government spending. They're trying to get it through to Biden before Trump takes office, but this would lock in billions more dollars to Ukraine, fast-tracking unvetted Afghan refugees into the United States and giving them citizenship, and also put more regulations on tech companies and AI. There is a lot of breaking news. We're going to get right into this. This is crazy. But just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help with the channel. And thank you to all of our members of the channel. If you want to join the TrueLife News fam, the link is in the description to join. You can also follow me on X. The description is there. The link is there as well. But also, too, just want to say thank you to everybody that supports our channel with the Super Chat donations. We are so grateful for your support. In a little less than a week, we'll be doing a big donation to a charity coming from this channel and you. So, love you all. Thank you for your support. But let's get right into this because this could happen very soon. Check it out.
As you know, this new attack with the attackums, technically, under the international laws of war, this qualifies as an act of war. And President Putin would be entitled to treat an act of war by the United States of America. And President Putin would be entitled to treat this as an act of war and respond accordingly. And indeed, as you know, he has already stated that an attack by a non-nuclear state in cooperation with a nuclear state, such as the United States, would make both states co-belligerents against Russia. So the predicate is set there for a war between Russia and the United States. You recall we discussed this, I think it was a year ago, about the dangers presented. It does seem to me that what Biden, or if you want to call them the Bidenites, are trying to do is to sabotage President Trump's peace initiative for Ukraine that he has spoken about, and also Vice President-elect Vance has spoken about, and that they both truly want to set into place, which I believe they can do. And what they have done now is significantly ratchet it up, make it more dangerous. And in my opinion, the Bidenites would like to get us into a shooting war with Russia so that they could hand that over to President Trump and make it extremely difficult for him to pursue a peaceful resolution over Ukraine. So my motivation behind drafting these 3 articles of impeachment is to get a member of the House to introduce them immediately into the House of Representatives. This can be done orally by any member getting up there and reading. The Republicans are in control of the House. They can call an immediate vote. They could have Biden impeached by the end of the week. And that.
So sorry to interrupt, but you hear that they've already drafted 3 articles of impeachment. And they have all the statutory to do so, that they could impeach him by the end of the week. And he's already working with Republicans, senators, and House of Representatives to do this.
Bill of impeachment, the indictment would then be shipped to the Senate for a trial. In my opinion, doing that.
And you can see this at the very top. You see where it says first session, impeaching Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., President of the United States, for high crimes and misdemeanors.
That would discombobulate the Biden administration. They'd be dead in the water, hopefully dealing with this impeachment effort and buying us time necessary to get to the inauguration on January 20th. That's my strategy as I see it.
So you see, there's a lot of things going on right now because of what's going on with Ukraine and Russia and allowing of these missiles. It is something that is literally put a lot of people on edge, and Republicans and Democrats are ready to move forward. But on top of that, check this out. On top of that, there is newfound evidence. You're not going to believe this. Like, it's so sad to see this, what you're about to see. But there's newfound evidence of what's gone on with the FEMA and the FEMA director, the allocation of funds of your taxpayer dollars being prioritized in a large amount to illegal immigrants over American citizens, everybody. Check this out.
Okay, because there were reports that FEMA was having.
This is literally happened just moments ago in Congress, Washington, D.C.
Discussions about using those. Okay, thank you for clarifying. Now, something else I'd like for you to clarify. There's been a lot of discussion about FEMA's emergency food and shelter program and how it's handled. And I just, number one, that's a FEMA program. Number two, that is funded with taxpayer dollars. And so whenever folks say that, well, no, you got to understand it's a different program. These are all taxpayer dollars. And what you do is you triage or you prioritize what is needed, what's most important, and that's where we need to focus. I mean, do you agree with that?
The Shelter and Services Program is a program that was directed by Congress for FEMA to administer. Yes.
Right. And so these are all federal taxpayer dollars. And so if we need taxpayer dollars in a higher priority area, it would make sense to take funds from a lower priority area. What I'm really struggling with is, as I understand, is that in North Carolina, for example, where I visited, you could have a flood or disaster victim that can get a check for $750. Yet when I go through and I look at the programs and resources that are available to a citizen of a different country that came illegally into the United States, under the FEMA administered program using nonprofits, you could be eligible for housing, for food, for transportation, for healthcare costs, and others. I was able to come, looking at the very documents that these nonprofits were using, I was able to get to a figure in excess of $10,000 for an individual. Let me make note again, that is a citizen of a foreign country. How would I explain to a taxpayer that a taxpayer, a citizen of the United States, is eligible for $750, yet a citizen of a foreign country under your agency is still eligible for assistance of $10,000? How would I?
This is as mind-blowing. This is in Congress. This just happened. This is what they're holding them accountable to. That going through FEMA, you can literally, if you're an illegal immigrant from another country, can access up to $10,000 of our taxpayer dollars. Yet a taxpayer can only get $750. Can you believe this crap? This is why we need new leadership.
Explain that to somebody.
Congressman, the resources that are available to people impacted by disasters are a variety of resources, and that $750 payment is just to cover those immediate needs. They are eligible for $42,500 in fiscal year 24 for housing assistance and $42,500 for other needs assistance. Those are the programs that are available to people that were impacted by disasters.
So it's very clear.
And I just want to bring context to you. What she's talking about is a loan, not just giving money like the illegal immigrants. These are options available that you could get this loan from the federal government to help pay for your relief, yet you got illegal immigrants getting $10K.
It's very clear that today, and I just visited North Carolina just a few weeks ago, it's very clear to me that there are folks that are in need right now. The disparity that exists in that a citizen of a foreign country that broke the law and came here illegally is they can get a plane ticket paid for, they can get a hotel room paid for. I think 200 and something bucks a night, if I remember right, in some of the areas of maybe around Midland, Texas, somewhere around there. Again, healthcare, food, clothing. We have citizens of our own country that I engaged in North Carolina weeks and weeks after the disaster that have some of those same needs. This is ridiculous. It really is. And I understand that all of these decisions aren't yours, but Administrator, you understand the ridiculousness of this situation, that we're not helping our own citizens, yet we're out there using our own taxpayer dollars when we have a debt right now of $35 trillion as a nation, and we're helping out citizens of other countries when we're not even meeting the fundamental needs of our own citizens.
This is exactly, I mean, guys, what I love more than ever is you're getting to see everything as it's actually happening. There's a lot of people in this country that are not putting Americans first. The Los Angeles City Council unanimously approved a sanctuary city ordinance barring the use of city resources or personnel to assist in enforcing federal immigration laws. They literally voted 13-0 to strengthen policies that they would not allow any resources of the city to be used in Trump's deportation. They're literally putting illegal immigrants above really needful Americans. And not only that, Bongino, some bombshell news, everybody. Check this out.
Working beautifully. Hat tip newsbusters. Watch this epic, like minute and 10-second meltdown. They don't know what to do. The second they freak out over one person, they got to move on to the next one. And always gauge the effectiveness of a political battlefield tactic by the response of your enemy. If they're freaking out, what does that mean, folks in the chat? You know, Karate Man is Karate Man. That means you are doing the right thing, and you should move forward and move forward fast. Check this out.
Well, 8 years ago, Donald Trump promised to deliver to his administration the best people. He delivered the worst people to ever work in a presidential administration. And now he is delivering even worse people.
Matt Gaetz is literally the worst pick in the world for Attorney General. People at the Justice Department who just use the word insane.
Simply gobsmacking. I mean, how could he?
This is a crazy pick. This is a dangerous pick.
He will turn the Department of Justice into a petting zoo.
We've seen people today, our fellow reporters, crying, hugging in the hallways.
This kind of appointment is really striking fear and trepidation in the hearts of the career civil servants over there.
No one is endorsing this.
Tulsi Gabbard, insofar as she is known at all, is known as a spreader of Syrian and Russian disinformation.
Russian television, which is a propaganda machine, has joked that she's a Russian asset. I don't know that for fact, but that is something they've talked about.
They don't know. They've lost control. Most of you, I assume, in the chat, right? Your parents, you have kids. A lot of you do. Some may not. But you've been a kid at some point, obviously, all of you. You know what it's like to deal with kids around that kindergarten age where they develop their first sense of autonomy, like they know they're distinct from their parents. What do you mean? If you ever had a newborn, the newborn has no sense of self at all. All it knows is how to poop and how to like, mommy, it's time for food, so I cry. There's that moment, like, the kindergarten age, where they really start to develop that sense of like, I'm a separate and distinct person, and if I do this, I'll get what I want. And that's why they melt down, because they haven't learned how to control their emotions. That's the media. It may seem like a really odd analogy, but I think you guys in the chat here, it's true. They're like a bunch of kindergarten-age children who have no emotional control at all. They can't say like, well, Congresswoman Gabbard is an experienced former presidential candidate with a serious political and military resume, and we may not agree with some of her foreign policy positions, but given that, she's a serious person. What do they got to do? Tulsi Gabbard is a Putin asset, as if they haven't tried the Putin asset tactic with who, guys? Every single person they agree with ever. It's because they're children. They're little tiny 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds. They have no emotional control, bowel control. They wear diapers all day. And that's why we're here to decimate their credibility. And that's why Pew Research has this guy and the Bongino Army as the most trusted source in news, or one of them, in America. We win, you and the media lose every time. Why? Because we're 2 weeks ahead of the news cycle. Did we not tell you to flood the zone strategy? Political trench warfare. You doubt me? You see this video? You probably saw it, but I'm going to play it again. Here is a Bucks County commissioner in Pennsylvania. They're fighting over unquestionably illegal ballots. Here, I'll show you they're illegal. Put the adultery tweet up first. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court has now ordered them again to stop counting illegal ballots that were not signed. They're illegal.
And I hate to interrupt everybody, but I'm telling you, they're literally having to repeat. They're saying this is the final warning. Stop counting the ballots. Casey's not going to win. You're not going to get any more of these seats. You lost. And yet these other people are still trying to prove something.
No question about it. There's no debate about it. They are illegal ballots. Here's the Bucks County Commissioner publicly on video. You think we're playing cutesy time still? Double barrel middle finger to you losers. I'm just going to count them anyway because I just really don't care. Watch this.
We reject all three categories of these ballots.
Your motion is to reject or dismiss the challenges in this category in front of you?
Correct, yep.
I'm not going to second that, mostly because I think we all know that precedent by a court doesn't matter anymore in this country, and people violate laws anytime they want. So for me, if I violate this law, it's because I want a court to pay attention to it.
Folks, the saddest thing is that's not fake.
No.
Justin didn't edit that. That's not AI. That actually happened. And you're worried about Matt Gaetz, that he parties, and I'm not interested in that right now. I'm interested in saving the republic. Folks, sorry, I just want to update the check. Can we have a candid conversation about something? I don't want to, I'm hesitant to do this because it sounds like I'm lecturing people, and I'm in no position to do that. Matter of fact, the whole purpose of this is I'm not lecturing people because I'm in no position to do it. But for those of you out there who may be new to politics and still idealistic, who don't get it yet, like, well, Matt Gaetz is accused of this and this and this. By the way, they're accusations. Doesn't mean they're real. It means they're accusations. Trump was accused of being a Russian asset. So was Tulsi Gabbard. That's not real either. Even if every single accusation was true, folks, a lot of powerful, great men who've changed the world, I got news for you, man. I'm not saying they are or aren't. I'm just telling you, a lot of them have been really bad men. When you're in the Secret Service as long as I was, and you're sitting around the power centers, but you're not in them, you're like a fly on the wall, but you see it. Folks, I'm telling you, man, a lot of these people are really bad people. They are. So all I'm trying to say to you is if you're using good or bad as a metric to appoint people who could change the country for the better, you're going to lose because they're all bad. So forget it. Your only metric at this point should be who is going to use the tools of the Constitution to move our country in a better direction. And
and I'm telling you this, guys, like, as crazy it is to say, like, it's really mind-blowing, like that Dan Bongino said, but he's a real one. This dude served Secret Service, all this, he knows. So that's why, you know, we show him on this channel, because he shows us and tells us a lot of the stuff that you never hear on the mainstream media. Remember, he used to be on Fox, and then they kicked him out because he was too real. But check this out. Sherry Garcia, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. She said, let's make the Yakety Yak song Matt Gaetz' Battle Cry song. Let's go. Because I'm telling you, you called it, Sherry. You knew what I was going to put up next. I think you knew. I think you felt it. Paper shredding truck appears outside the Department of Justice after Gaetz' nomination. Guys, this is reliable news source. Breitbart News. This ain't no little hoax guy who's got 5 followers. This is literally legitimate news that they are trying to cover up something now. They know that Matt Gaetz is going to go after them. They know that they have stuff to hide. And I'm telling you, this is crazy that Sherry put that super chat, and I'm showing you this now because of what's coming. Y'all show Sherry some love in the chat, everybody. But what's more is coming is that the Democrats are going to try to push through a huge spending bill, and it literally irritates the crap out of me because we've already got Doge coming. Department of Government Efficiency, but that's not stopping the Dems. Check this out.
Historic win, a popular vote victory? Has Trump world and hardworking Americans, they're in a great mood. We all want to believe that the mandate is undeniable. Trump and Vance, their hard-charging cabinet nominees, Elon Musk, and a Republican House and Senate, how could the goal of transforming government not be reached? Well, before Trump has the opportunity to really drain the swamp monsters will fight for their natural habitat, no matter who they're up against. Well, the swampy defenders of the status quo find ways to survive, and this includes setting traps for trespassers. And while the Democrats still have power on Capitol Hill, they want to hamstring Trump by forcing hundreds of billions of dollars in wasteful and even destructive year-end spending, including spending for programs and initiatives that voters don't want or support, like they've done, of course, so many times before. We've been through this. Now, this is such a scam, and it seems to happen every year. With members anxious to leave for Christmas, they just abdicate their duty to be faithful stewards of our money. Courtesy of Senator Mike Lee, here are just a few of the ticking time bombs that could be passed in a swampnibus bill. First, a year-long continuing resolution that would cement into place the Democrats' worst spending abuses for the first part of the Trump administration. Disaster. Second, we could be locked in for continuing Ukraine money. Might as well have Treasury just print, another $50 billion and throw it in a bonfire on Capitol Hill. Total waste there. And third, the fast tracking of Afghan nationals into permanent residency status, even when we know, courtesy of the Inspector General's report, that they can't even be guaranteed to have ever been properly vetted. And fourth, Democrat-authored new standards and regulations on artificial intelligence that will include DEI requirements. AI with DEI. What could go wrong? So will Republicans say no to this madness and help make Trump's first year in office successful? Will they stay as long as it takes in December to force the Democrats to back down? This is what Speaker Mike Johnson warned about back in September.
We have broken the Christmas omni, and I have no intention of going back to that terrible tradition. So there won't be a Christmas omnibus. As somebody asked me in the hallway a little while ago, will there be many buses? We don't want any buses. We're not going to do any buses, okay?
No.
Now, beyond that, sourpuss Schumer is trying to stymie Trump's agenda by ramming through as many liberal judges as possible before the Senate changes hands.
Last night, I also filed cloture on another 9 nominees to serve as district judges across the country. I will now have filed cloture on a total of 12 district court judges since the end of last week. We're not done. There are more judges to consider and confirm. We're going to spend the rest of the week and the rest of this year focused on confirming them.
Yeah, he looks like a real winner there, reading his notes. Well, Trump urged Senate Republicans, of course, to step up and slow down the cram down. And meanwhile, Democrats haven't given up their strategy of branding everything Trump does as extremist. But now it's using the veneer of bipartisanship to do it. But what's more extremist than always pushing war?
We are prepared to work hard to find bipartisan common ground with our Republican colleagues and the incoming administration on any issue, whenever and wherever possible. But at the same period of time, we will push back against far-right extremism whenever necessary.
And we know the swamp loves wars because the military-industrial complex needs spending to always increase, which will happen with Biden's move authorizing Ukraine to use long-range weapons into Russia.
Is this being done to box in the next administration and make it harder to pull back support for Ukraine?
Well, I can't speak to exactly what made this decision final, but I do think that it's urgent that we put Ukraine on as strong a footing as we can.
Look, the swamp, its allies, they've never cared about what the voters want, which includes putting Americans first. After all, America first, that was the cornerstone of Trump's entire campaign.
The Trump victory is far from a mandate. President Biden won the popular vote by more than 7 million votes in 2020. And I didn't hear Republicans saying, okay, let's give Biden everything he wants because he has a mandate. No, Trump does not have a mandate, and he certainly doesn't have the moral high ground.
This from the party that thought calling Trump a fascist was a brilliant campaign strategy.
Wow.
Well, here's the bottom line. We won, they lost. The American people don't want Joe Biden making any significant policy decisions now. Plus, we saw the videotape. We know he's not the one making any of these moves. The poor man can't even stay in a photo shoot at the G20. We know President Trump is going to stand up for himself and his priorities. But we also need Republicans on both sides of Capitol Hill doing their part to prevent Schumer and Jeffries from hamstringing him until he's back in office. Then the swamp monsters will be the ones running for cover. And that's the angle.
Guys, I'm telling you, like, the stuff that's coming out right now, they're trying to spend a lot of the taxpayers' dollars. They're trying to make sure that they make it harder on Trump more than ever as he takes office with everything that's happening. But the big thing is there's a lot of people that are in favor of what Trump is trying to do with Doge, with Elon, with Vivek. Excuse me. But AF Andy, thank you so much for the super chat. If this is so close to Trump's inauguration that if they impeach Biden, they could, of course, Kamala would be the next one, but they could impeach her too as well. So then, who would actually be the president? It's as crazy as this to say, it'd actually be Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who would take over. So, and then he would just hand it over to Trump. That's how it happens in Congress. Y'all show Andy AF some love in the chat. But check this out, because Rand Paul, who's always been a person trying to reduce government spending, is literally building up the whole list of things to go after for Vivek and for Elon. Check this out.
In terms of the new administration, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy's new Department of Government Efficiency, which is short-termed as Doge, giving a shout out to my next guest who has been trying to save tax dollars and cut waste for years on Capitol Hill. And Doge posted this clip with some of Senator Rand Paul's greatest hits. Watch.
To give tequila to Sunfish and gin and see which one made them more aggressive. Nearly $1 million spent studying whether or not Japanese quail, if you give them cocaine, whether or not they're more sexually promiscuous. To study what did Armstrong say, what did Neil Armstrong say when he landed on the moon? In the end, $750,000 later, they couldn't decide.
We still don't know.
Was it one step for man, one step for a man?
Unbelievable. Let's bring in Senator Paul, serves on the Foreign Relations Committee. We want to ask him about Ukraine as well, and is set to become chairman of the Homeland Security Committee. Senator Paul, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
I want to play this quick soundbite from Vivek Ramaswamy about what they want to do and get your thoughts on it. Let's watch.
We expect certain agencies to be deleted outright. We expect mass reductions in force in areas of the federal government that are bloated. We expect massive cuts among federal contractors and others who are overbilling the federal government. So yes, we expect all of the above. And I think people will be surprised by, how quickly we're able to move.
So you know things better than Vivek Ramaswamy does, actually, in terms of what happens on the Hill and how difficult it is to cut through these agencies. Are you optimistic that this can be accomplished, as he says?
I feel like I'm at a revival meeting and I can say, amen, Vivek, amen. I'm with you. We've already forwarded them 2,000 pages of waste that could be cut.
Ooh.
I'm all in and will do anything I can to help them.
Whoa, guys, I love this stuff. I love when we hear from Congress. We've already sent Vivek and Elon 2,000 pages worth of cuts that we can get rid of. Praise God. Let's get some likes, some thumbs up for cutting government waste. Give it back to the taxpayers. And let's see some popcorn in the chat, guys, because we got a great show tonight. Deanna Rankin, thank you so much for the super chat. Say happy Thanksgiving to you, Joel, and your family. Prayers for America. I see a lot of cheating, backstabbing going on from the Democrats, 100%. Y'all show Deanna some love in the chat, everybody.
I think we've never had a president and a team like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy
Jesse Waters.
that had this degree of momentum, incisiveness, and frankly, energy and drive to do it. That's what it takes. It's a monster. It's a leviathan. But can you cut? Sure, you can cut. You can cut through attrition. You can cut through letting people go. There are some departments that would be gone and you would not know it. The Department of Education, we've had it for 40 years. The scores of our students are worse. If it was gone tomorrow, it would not affect education, although it might help education because you'd have more local control of your schools. Can they do it all through executive action? Maybe not, but by pointing it out and ridiculing it and then doing what they can through executive action, I think we're going to draw a lot of attention to it, and maybe some of my colleagues will wake up.
Let me ask you that. So just Department of Education, can the president, through executive action, eliminate it? I know Musk has talked about paying people 2 years of severance and time to go find their own job, still saving money.
That's yet to be determined. The money will be allocated by Congress, and so this debate went on in the Nixon era when he impounded money. The court said he actually couldn't impound money. If he was told to spend it, the president had to spend it. So there will be that debate. There's also another way you can get at spending. It's called rescission. So money is sent over. The president says, well, we don't need this much money. We don't need this many people. We'd like to send some back. Has to be voted on by Congress, and that's a rescission package. But it gets special privilege, and it only is a simple majority. So if rescission would work and all
Words of Neil
stay together, you could cut billions, if not trillions of dollars in spending. So everything they're talking about doing, the most practical way of doing it probably includes Congress, but it's included through what's called a rescission package, which has privilege, meaning it'll get a vote, and it can be done by simple majority. I'm going to work with their team and do everything I can to give them advice on how to do it. On the regulatory front, I think they can immediately begin writing regulations to undo regulations. So I think there's a lot they could do by executive action on deregulating us. And if they're real activists on it, I think a lot could get done. We've never had an administration, including the previous Trump administration, I think that was this aggressive. I'm all for it. And the sooner we get started, the better.
Yeah, there's a window in the first 100 days when the momentum can be behind these things. And as Elon Musk has said, we've watched him slash spending. Any successful businessman knows that watching every penny is the key to success. And if we can see some of that applied to government, I think we'd see some real change. This is, I want to switch gears here.
Guys, I'm telling you this, it is big what we are seeing now across the board. And of course, we're seeing them fight back and forth like never before on where the money's going, what is happening. Thank you, Andy, so much for the super chat. Let's go. He's saying, what's happening to the race with Carrie Lake? in Arizona, guys, they're still fighting it. Like, I'll actually bring on air on this channel, like, show you the actual lawsuits that are happening right now. Because again, too, what's happened in Pennsylvania has happened in Arizona, and the RNC has already filed lawsuits and is fighting it. And it's not really catching a lot of news, but I will show you on this channel so that you can see that there is action going on behind the scenes. Y'all show AF Andy some love in the chat. But I want to show you this too, because this to me is why Elon's so important, why this whole election was able to happen for Trump. Check this out.
So the reason one of the big reasons he bought Twitter/X is because he wanted to make it his own platform, remake it in his own image. And I think this really gets at it. Look at this. The party ID among those who regularly use X/Twitter for news. Back in 2022, 65% of those who regularly use Twitter/X for news were Democrats. Just 31% were Republicans. Look at where we are today. Just a completely different picture. Now it's basically split between Democrats at 48%, Republicans at 47%. And what I should note, Mr. Berman, is this new overall makeup matches the overall electorate far better. And more than that, John, look at where Mr. Musk's net worth is today versus where it was just 2 months ago.
Guys, I'm telling you, X is the only reason, the reason that we have freedom of speech, the reason why that we actually were able to catch a lot of the things that were happening during the election, people trying to cheat, people trying to voter fraud, all this illegal stuff happening was because of X. We thank Elon for X. Free Soul, welcome to the family. Let's go. And also, too, I want to give a shout out to Denise Osborne. Welcome to the family. And B1 Sly One, thank you for gifting a True Life News membership. Y'all show them some love in the chat, everybody, because we're not done yet, guys. We got a lot more news. Check this out.
Words of Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon. We realized watching TV together the full magnitude of our potential. Manifest destiny isn't limited to God's green earth. Adventuring into space is the natural evolution of the American push into the wilderness. Space exploration withered under Barack Obama, but like many things in America, it's making a comeback. Trump and Musk flew to South Texas today. Elon giving 47 a little aerodynamics 101. The goal has been set. Colonize Mars. But before that, we have to make sure if we get men to Mars, we can get them back. So this test was about working out the kinks, and they let it rip.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
4, 3, 2, 1.
That's so cool.
The mission was a success. SpaceX fulfilled 3 of the 4 goals: reignition, splashdown, vertical reentry. They just weren't able to catch the booster in the chopsticks. Should have used a fork. A manned mission to Mars isn't far off, and it's coming at a time when Americans' cultural confidence is high. We're still celebrating what happened 2 Tuesdays ago, in the octagon, in the ring, and on the gridiron. And now on the pitch. People are having fun because we're getting back to normal. Men are acting like men, women are acting like women, walls are being built, and statues are going to stay up. Even Gavin Newsom wants to be a part of the story, but he keeps cold calling Trump and can't seem to get through.
I tried to reach out to him, couldn't get through, and then we went back and forth. I called for this special session.
I think he actually really likes you guys. I think half of this is an act.
You say you reach out to Trump?
Yeah. I didn't connect with him. Normally we get right through, but it's a different time, man. We didn't have that problem in the past, but the White House is not set up. He's in the middle of a transition. I'm not complaining about anything. The last person I thought he'd pick up the phone was me.
Maybe Gavin should just show up at Mar-a-Lago and knock on the door like Mika and Joe. That's what Gavin did with Biden. He just showed up at the White House and walked right in. We're hearing more about the Morning Joe Mar-a-Lago summit. Trump just told them he wants to have better relations with the press and do some deals with Democrats if they want to help the country. Sounds reasonable, right? Well, most of the media branded Mika and Joe as traitors who betrayed democracy.
It's probably because most of the media actually believe their own lies. Morning Joe says it was effing worth it, quote unquote. Their pilgrimage to Palm Beach makes more sense now because this just in. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Comcast, the parent company, is about to announce it's spinning off MSNBC into a separate venture. It'll no longer live under the same umbrella as NBC News. Ratings and profit are down, and MSNBC is on its own now. Biden certainly didn't help. They had to cover up for the big guy, and it got them nowhere. They ended up with no access, no influence, and no audience. Joe still won't talk to anyone.
Mr. President, happy early birthday! For your birthday, will you talk to us, sir? As a gift to the press, will you please talk to us? Mr. President, President Biden, please, we haven't heard from you all trip! Mr. President!
How's the media going to cover the story if the main character's in hiding? They can't. The media wants to be used so badly, and Biden wouldn't even give them the pleasure.
Nothing.
Now they're depressed, divided, and searching for meaning. Talking about Trump's landslide's no fun. So now they're seeing how far they can go and what they can get away with and wondering aloud into a microphone, can anyone hear me? Is anyone listening?
Democrats better get started now, tracking these people, holding these people accountable, and making clear to ordinary voters who voted for what and who's responsible for what. You can't talk broad themes. You have to boil it down to nuts and bolts, and you have to be pithy. What do I mean by pithy? How about this? Republicans want to kill your kids.
Republicans want to kill your kids.
What?
That's from a Washington Post reporter who sounds like she's trying to get fired by Bezos.
Ain't that the truth?
Maybe Jennifer Rubin wants to be fired to know she's alive. It's better than getting ignored. And the rest of the press is so lost, they're covering the first transgender congressman or congresswoman. I guess they were born a man and now claim they're a woman. And this person wants to use the women's room on Capitol Hill. And ABC News decided to take sides. You can guess whose side they took.
Here she goes. Here's Congresswoman Mace. Congresswoman Mace, can I ask you a question as you walk here? So the question is, with your piece of legislation about banning women from using...
100% yes.
My question to you is...
It doesn't go far enough. I'll be filing more bills. I'm not going to allow biological men into women's private spaces. I will stand in the brink and stand in the way of anyone on the radical left who thinks that it's okay for a penis to be in a women's locker room or a bathroom or a changing room. Hell no. I am not going to stand for it. And the Speaker said it would be in the House rules package. If it's not, I'll be ready with a motion, a privileged motion to force a vote on this. This is not okay. I'm a survivor of rape. I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. And I'm not going to allow any man in any female private spaces.
Now, Speaker.
End of story.
So after Democrats got shellacked in the battlegrounds with child sex change surgery ads, ABC wants to pick a fight with a woman who doesn't want to share a bathroom with a man. They're treating the trans story like it's Watergate.
The notion that this incoming small House Republican conference majority is beginning to transition to the new Congress by bullying a member of Congress. This is what we're doing?
There's one transgender member of Congress out of 435, and the top Democrat is siding with they, them instead of you.
Wow.
This was the biggest story in Washington all day. Where this transgender member is going to the bathroom. It's like they learned nothing from the last election.
God, they're so...
Just go in the men's room. Or go in the gender-neutral bathroom. Don't they have those there yet? They have them everywhere else. Biden should just build one at this point. He's trying to get all the money spent before he's gone. Why not? I can't believe we're even talking about this.
Biblically clear, a man is a man and a woman is a woman, and a man cannot become a woman.
So why do hundreds of women have to feel uncomfortable so one man can feel included?
Wow.
This is what made Democrats change parties. Their party wasn't listening to them.
So what changed? My level of thinking, me not thinking that the police are above me and white men are above me. And I'm all good about like, yo, we can learn about history and all that stuff, but don't tell me or don't try to put it in a way that it's like our country is racist. Our kids are important, guys, you know, and if we're not teaching them well, if we're not teaching them about credit, if we're not teaching them about how to get a home eventually, and all we're talking about is racism and, you know, trans and gays, which like I said, I'm all good. Like, you do what you do. Just don't force it on people.
Mm-hmm. So behind a closed-door Democrat Senate meeting today, incoming Michigan Senator Elise Slotkin tried to splash some cold water on their faces. Quote, "It's not rocket science, but talking about those issues plainly not from the faculty lounge, but from the assembly line is, I think, a very important message." So the country's starting from scratch. We have a blank slate. We can write our own story. This last crazy chapter is over. The new American century of a new golden age returns to what America's always been, a land of opportunity, where the American citizen with vision and grit can shoot for the moon or even Mars and make it there. Trump and Musk are watching rockets shoot into space, and the left is saying Republicans want to kill your kids and bully men out of women's bathrooms. As you can see, this is going to be a struggle for some people to find their place in the world. But if you look to the past, it'll tell you where you need to go. Words of Neil Armstrong.
Isn't that crazy, everybody, where the priorities are at, where their focus is at? Right now, Republicans are focused on putting America first, making sure that we're actually taking care of Americans over illegal immigrants, over, taking care of taxpayers, over migrants, illegal migrants. Like, this is where the country is at. This is why Trump has a mandate. This is why he won all 7 swing states. People are tired of it. There's some more news going on with what's happening in Congress, what's happening with the FEMA issues. Guys, people are like just livid because we've uncovered the truth. It just wasn't in a small spot. In multiple states, FEMA personnel were literally going against people that were for Trump vans. If there was locations, they were looking at it county by county. And if the county consisted of past 70 to 80% of Republican voters versus Democrats, they wouldn't even visit that location. That's how bad it was. That's how bad they put politics in front of it. Mr. Tracy J. Norby, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. He said, important, the whole system out of the office. Biden on the down the line, Kamala, and the rest of them, deep state, crumb, and the elites need to stay out of Washington, period. They all need to go. TrueLife family, love y'all. Smash the like button. Let's go. Y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat, everybody. Check this out.
Testifying on Capitol Hill today. This after the major whistleblower revelation that FEMA directed its employees to skip houses with Trump signs. Joining us now is New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew, who was at the hearing earlier. Sir, thanks for being with us. So the administrator says, look, what happened here is not a widespread issue. It's a one-off. Do you believe her after the hearing?
That's the point. That's the point. And good to be with you. The point is, we don't know that for sure. The other committee I serve on is Judiciary. And I remember when the Attorney General said that there was nothing there, nothing to be seen, nothing about Russian collusion was wrong. Of course, we knew it happened. We saw that they sent, undercover agents, or were about to send undercover agents in traditional Roman Catholic churches. Originally said, no, there's no culture of misdoing here. There's nothing wrong. We found out that wasn't true. My point to all of this is, what culture do they have over there that this administration has in general that would allow them to think it is okay, that would allow this individual to think that it's acceptable to actually skip by homes of people because they have different political values? The truth is, there very well may be more to this. The truth is, this is a First Amendment right to stay what you believe and how you feel. And these people were denied essential services, most of whom probably never asked anything from the government in their entire lives.
Congressman, what then do you need to see in the next administration to fix deep-rooted cultural issues such as these?
Well, I believe the people that are going to be intimately involved in all these agencies in the next administration are going to be people that understand the value of freedom and understand the value of just plain English, being a good American, and that you just don't do this. I said to my colleagues as I was speaking on the left, on the Democratic side, I said, guess what? Someday it could be you. America, we appreciate and we always tolerate a different viewpoint. To think that you would take essential services away from people in need when they're hurting their most just because they have a different political belief is un-American and wrong.
Congressman, I know this was not any part of the hearing today, but separately, you've got Joe Biden asking Congress for $100 billion in disaster relief. I'm not going to debate whether or not the people need it. The people definitely need it. The question is, what happened to the funds that were in place? People have questions about how they were allocated, how they were spent, and why they're not there right now, and why Joe Biden looks at these $100 billion asks like they're literally, a couple of pennies in the coffer.
He has no sense of money at all, or what the budget is. I don't even know if he knows what the national debt is. I'm sure that he doesn't. Bottom line is, of course, we must help those people. The problem is we don't know when we give FEMA money in fact, we do know it doesn't go towards helping people very often.
Right here.
There's millions upon millions of dollars that are in there that go for relief for undocumented illegal aliens that could have gone for relief, for disaster relief, but it didn't. It's a separate line item. That's wrong. That's crazy. We're taking better care of people who are here illegally, some of whom aren't even good people, than we are our own Americans. When we get in January 20th, it's all going to change. We're going to dig into all these different agencies, make sure they run a whole lot more efficiently. Bottom line is, I really want to dissect this, because if it's not going to the people who need it, I'm not going to vote for it.
Great. Sounds like a great project for...
Guys, I'm telling you, this is the big part, what he just said. We just heard earlier that FEMA funds there's a part of the FEMA funds that have been allocated to help illegal migrants, and it sums up to upwards of $10,000. Yet, what was offered to the hurricane victims was only $750. And I'm so thankful, because when I hear this, we gave a big donation from this channel to Samaritan's Purse with your giving. And it's just a blessing that we're about to do that again with another charity. But this is where we're at right now, that you can't even trust the FEMA directors. You can't trust who's managing our taxpayer dollars, because they keep stepping over Americans to give it to illegal immigrants. That's what's so sad. Christine Engler, thank you so much for gifting the 5 TrueLife News memberships. Let's go. Y'all show Christine some love in the chat, everybody. Guys, I'm telling you, if you can share this video, thank you so much. We got to get this message out of what's happening behind the scenes. I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button so I can serve you every day with the top news. And thank you so much to everybody that is a member of the channel. Julie Renee, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. She said, if a man comes in my bathroom, he will leave as a woman. No more. Yep. Love your show, Joel. Hey, love you too, Julie. Y'all show Julie some love in the chat. Guys, I'm telling you this. A lot is going to happen. A lot's going to change. Mr. Tracy J. Norby with the super chat. Let's go. We got the victory, y'all. Let's go. Y'all show Mr. Norby some love. B1 Sly 1, Free Soul, Andy, Denise, Deanna Rankin, Sherry Garcia, Judy Lynn, Loving Spirit. Y'all are so awesome. We appreciate y'all so much. Like I said, you're going to see things on this channel you normally don't see on mainstream media. We're always a couple days ahead of the mainstream. We get you the top news every single day. I'm here to serve you, and I'm so grateful to be doing that. Remember, if you want to join the TrueLife News fam, the link is in the description to join. You can follow me on X. My link is in the description. And just thank you so much, everybody that gives a super chat donation. We are truly grateful for your support. And we're going to keep moving forward. We're going to keep growing. And we're going to keep giving back and bringing positive change to this world. Love you all. Thank you so much. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.